Well, it is Australia Day. It means there is once again this discussion about whether to change the date, perhaps add a day or alter the way it all happens. I spoke yesterday to Labor's Shadow Minister for Indigenous Australians, Linda Burney, who doesn't believe that if a date was being chosen today, we would choose this one, but she says she's a pragmatist and doesn't expect it to change anytime soon. Others, including my next guest, Liberal Senator Andrew Bragg, have proposed keeping Australia Day where it is and creating a second national day to celebrate our Indigenous heritage. So Andrew Bragg joins me now. Thanks for your time. This idea, you came about this idea after a lot of research and, of course, writing a book with a strong focus on an Indigenous voice to Parliament. I guess the key question is it gaining any traction within your party, within Australians generally?
Well, Tom, I think what you've seen from this past few days where we have a discussion about Australia Day is that more Indigenous leaders are talking about the value of keeping the day on 26 January. Because it is a day of truth-telling in its own way. And Noel Pearson has put forward the idea of a two-day approach to Australia Day. I guess this is a variation on that approach of having another day on the 27th of January. And I think that people would be supportive of having another public holiday. And I think the debate continues to evolve as the day evolves.
So I suppose the key aspect of this as well is getting support for it. So you mentioned you believe it is building around that particular template 2 days. At the same time, the day itself seems to be changing somewhat. The way it's celebrated, the way people talk about not just celebrating, reflecting. Obviously for some it's a commiseration or worse. So is the day itself almost taking care of the debate by changing and the way that different generations are celebrating it, the day is changing?
I think it's amazing how much the day has changed in my lifetime from being a raw celebration now into something much more respectful, but also an occasion where we are able to mark the best of Australia. This morning you've been showing footage from Woogalora at Barangaroo, and that is the start of the day in Sydney with a smoking ceremony. The Premier's in attendance, and it's quite a special event. And that event, I can't imagine being conducted just 20 years ago. So I think the day itself is being augmented, but I do think we can go further. There is more we can do.
So as it stands, there isn't this second day. As a result, we've got a lot of individuals, but also we've had councils and we've had a growing number of organisations, whether it be sporting bodies in particular, say they believe it's not a day to celebrate. Is that a fair enough statement for these organisations to make if they wish, in your view?
That's a matter for them. I mean, the 26th of January is not Australia's birthday. Australia's birthday is the 1st of January. But this is the day that we've had for some time. So I would say that it's a day that they could use to conduct citizenship ceremonies and the like, because Australia is a great country. But Australia hasn't always been a great country for Indigenous people. In fact, in the main, Australia has been a bad country for Indigenous people. So each organisation should be able to make their own judgments as to what they feel is appropriate. I personally think it's appropriate to look at the good and the bad, because that's the truth. The truth is that there is a lot of good, but there is also some bad.
And how does that fit with councils wanting to go their own way on this day?
Well, I think it's their own judgment. I mean, I would be encouraging them to conduct citizenship ceremonies because I think it is an important national day, but if they don't want to, then that is their choice.
Okay. I want to ask you about the Indigenous voice. We're in a situation now where it won't happen in this term of Parliament and it's not going to be something enshrined in the Constitution. Do you see that as any sort of failure by your government?
Well, what we've achieved so far has been quite a number of things in Indigenous affairs. There is now a commitment from the Cabinet to put in place the local and regional voices in legislation. There is also the significant Nurra precinct in Canberra, which is going to be constructed to the tune of $300 million. And the broader question of the national voice and whether or not that can be in the Constitution, I think are matters that we can progress in the next term. I am personally of the view that there should be a national voice, and I think that there should be an obligation on the Commonwealth to consult with that voice, and that should be in the Constitution.
It seems the government not going down the route of the Constitution, but that's your view.